time ago, before time began, really at a time that the Bible refers to as before the foundations of the earth. There was only God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And they decided amongst themselves to create a kingdom. And it would be filled with people that would love them, obey them, and rule and reign with them. They decided to do that by creating a universe filled with stars and galaxies, black holes and nebulae, planets, and on one of those planets it would be special, set at just the right parameters to have life inhabit it. They decided they would fill it with plants of all kinds and animals, fish and birds, and they would put a man and a woman on that planet and give them and their descendants dominion over all that they had created. They would also make angelic beings that would be helpers and messengers for them. And both the people and the angelic beings would have a choice of obedience or rebellion. There would be one angel specifically higher than all the rest, and he would rebel and would take about a third of the angels with him, and in doing so convince the man and the woman to rebel as well. He would cause this rebellion to go on throughout time, and at just the right moment, God would step in, choose one family to represent him, and through that family, at the appropriate time, he would send his son, the seed of the woman, to come and to rectify all that had been broken in that creation. He would come and live a life perfect that the people had never been able to live, and in doing so, being sinless, he would not be able to die. So when he did die, he would be able to take on the punishment or the penalty for all who would ever have faith in him. This angel, when he fell, would be the kind of the arch enemy or the nemesis throughout all this time of human history. And he would wage war against God and that special family that he had selected and all that would choose to follow the Son. At the very end of that project, he would send the Son back. He would establish a kingdom and would fulfill all the commands given by God before anything had started. There would be one last rebellion by this angel as he led a number of people too numerous to number against the Son. And once the Son had put down that last rebellion and put all of his enemies under his feet, he would deliver that kingdom to the Father. And all who had ever believed in him throughout history are the ones who would inhabit the kingdom that they had set out to create. So before they began this project, they wrote down the name of every person that they had chosen to inhabit that kingdom in a book. And with all of that settled, they began. They began by fulfilling that plan. They did create that universe and that world, and they put a man and a woman on that planet. Adam and Eve is who we know them as. And they did fall. What had happened is this angel that was created above all the other angels in his pride fell, took a third of the angels with him, and because of his great hatred for God, and because he knew that God loved the man and the woman that he had created, he went and tempted them into joining the rebellion, which they did. At that time, God let this angel, who we know as Lucifer, Satan, the serpent, the dragon, he goes by many names, he was told in that moment of the human rebellion that the seed of the woman would come and eventually bring his destruction. And so from that moment on, he has raged against God, his people, the special family we know as the Jews that God set forth to bring about the coming of his Son. This Satan, or Lucifer, spent all of his time working to prevent the coming of the seed of the woman, to try to kill him once he was here, and then try to prevent his return. This really is the story of human history, and it's important to understand that it was all determined prior to anything ever starting. We are literally simply watching the unfolding of this plan over time, and we're part of that, and we are in that battle. And this morning, we come to Revelation chapter 12. Sorry, I looked down and saw it 6. Revelation chapter 12, and we're going to start with verses 1 through 6, and it really helps us see this story that I've just kind of laid out for us in a very picturesque, symbolic way. Now, let me read this for us. And a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. She was pregnant and was crying out in birth pains and the agony of giving birth. And another sign appeared in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his heads 7 diadems. His tail swept down a third of the stars of heaven and cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, so that when she bore her child, he might devour it. She gave birth to a male child, one who was to rule all the nations with a rod of iron. But her child was caught up to God and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by God, in which is to be nourished for 1260 days.